We made things in order a bit, so we have group 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 next to each other, completely orderly. We like that, the German way, gründlich. So, I'm sorry. Okay, so let's see what you've come up with. Let's start with group 1. Renate, tell me, what is your one idea most important to contribute? Just one. Just one idea.
Okay. It was a very intense process, and we came up with the thing to prepare yourself by developing spiritual and mental strength.
Prepare yourself by developing spiritual and mental
strength, and also understanding of death and dying to serve others.
Strength? Could you repeat? And also, in order to
spiritual mental strength, and also understanding of death and dying.
That's after strength.
After strength?
Prepare yourself. And
yes.
Mental strength and understanding of death and dying. Yeah. Actually, life and dying. To serve others.
Yeah, does it still fit?
You prepare yourself by developing strength.
Does it make sense?
Yeah. And
developing spiritual and mental strength and understanding of death and dying to serve others.
Yeah.
Okay.
And for us, this was step number 1 out of 4. So we made a kind of process out of it.
Okay. Well, maybe more steps will be filled in, and we'll see how it goes. Okay. Thanks. Angels, group 2.
Can I skip?
Okay. Yeah. Sure.
I'll come back.
Yeah. John.
Our first snippet had to do with starting today, not waiting till the death crisis arises. Mm-hmm. Start today asking questions. Start today to learn to redirect our identification, our consciousness, from lower to higher.
Okay. So asking questions to others and for yourself to redirect your identification. Can you repeat that again?
The second part was start today to learn to redirect our identification, our consciousness.
Learn to redirect our identification of consciousness. Or
/ consciousness.
Our identification / consciousness, yes. Okay?
The idea being we're all dying. Start today.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Angels, ready?
Sure.
Okay.
Sorry.
Back to group 2.
Okay. So, it would be talking from the higher knowing part of oneself to the higher knowing part of the other person, and not to the personality that is in fear.
Okay. And then
talking from.
Could you repeat?
The higher part that knows, or the higher, yeah.
Talking from the higher part that knows?
That knows.
Yes.
To the higher part that knows in the other person.
To the higher part that knows in the other person. Okay.
And not to the personality that is the one that fears or is in fear.
Okay. And not to the personality that is the one that fears.
One of the central points we thought
just wait a second. Yeah, okay, yeah.
We found most important is the thought that there is something in you that can never die. And that's just our first most important thought.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, educate what life really is.
Okay, Bianca?
Give the dying person his dignity back by emphasizing that he or she can choose how to deal with the situation. There's always a choice.
By emphasizing there is always a choice?
Emphasizing that they can choose how to deal with the situation.
That they can choose how to deal with the
So,
situation.
free will, if you will.
Okay. Back to Renate. Is step 2 still
Yes.
worth mentioning? Okay.
Yes. Well, when you are sort of prepared of death, or that you know that death is actual in your life, then seize the moment with empathy. Just don't put in whatever you want, but now I'm not, how could you say it? Kun je mij even helpen?
So the short version for you to type is seize the moment with empathy.
Yeah.
And what we mean is when the relevant teachings are alive in you, you can recognize in the other person what he or she needs. And the other way around, when it's alive in you, maybe the other person can recognize that you are the right one to ask this question or to use that moment. And that's what we mean with seizing the moment with empathy.
So therefore it's really the second step after
Yes.
the first, prepare yourself. So
Yes.
it really has to go after the last one. Yeah. Yeah. Or, yeah, well. Let's put in steps and then just put... Ja, en gewoon even steps en dan dit is 1 en dat is 2. Okay, we'll collect, we'll do it later, yeah. But just not to forget the order. Kun je die daar onderaan plaatsen? Ja, oké. Okay, thanks. Angels.
Okay. Just to come back to this understanding ourselves, the process of death, or of the dying process, yes. This is an easier way to uplift people's mind to a metaphysical level, just by understanding the process of the dying, by understanding the dying
process of dying first.
Yes, then we can more easily uplift people's mind to a metaphysical level.
First, it becomes easier to uplift the people's mind to... Could you repeat that?
Comma.
Yeah.
It becomes easier to uplift people's mind to a metaphysical level.
To a metaphysical plane?
Level.
Level, okay. En met de Y. Okay, great. John.
This is much in line with Angel's. Know who, what, where, and why. So understand the process from all of those points of view.
Yeah. Who, what, where, and why. And then, as I was in your group, we told, for example, where they are, who is in the process, at what stage they are, what they think themselves they need, what they think they understand, etc. Things like that. Yeah. Yeah. Times 3 at least. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So there are levels. You go deeper and deeper, asking these questions, right?
But you had mentioned the person dying, the person addressing the person dying, and the family. So
Oh, that's what you mean. Times 3. Okay. The person dying. It was connected to when someone is in the process of dying, but yeah. Yeah. Well, actually, yeah. There is no when, we say, because it's always, you always have to do this process.
I just learned it in the workshop.
Good point. Thanks. Yeah. Okay. Group 4.
Yes, our next point is make decisions and think in terms of many lives. So it's actually short-term versus long-term thinking.
And think in terms of many lives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When we educate what life really is, then we also must talk about what a human being really is.
Mm-hmm. Okay, maybe we can put it. Ja, precies daarachter bij die andere gele. Dan zit het wel een beetje bij elkaar. Oké, thanks. Bianca? Oh. Oh. Ja, oké. Ja.
Help someone prepare for panoramic vision by reviewing memories from the past life and drawing meaning from that. By reviewing memories of the past life together and drawing meaning from that. Of the past life.
Together to draw meaning from that.
Yeah.
Draw meaning
from that. Yeah. Yep.
Okay, we'll do a last round. Yeah? 3 rounds? Oh yeah, you had 4 steps. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. what now? What happened?
What to do? Okay, start.
There's probably more people in the group, because then we'll open it up to the rest.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's okay. This is about the process of dying. Finding the appropriate things to do and to say, depending on the situation. Use creativity, empathy, and compassion.
Mm-hmm. And say, depending on the situation.
Depending on the situation. To do and say,
mm-hmm.
Depending on the situation. Using creativity, empathy, and compassion.
And this was your 3rd step?
Third step,
okay.
yeah. This is about acting and being with the heart, and
mm-hmm.
also about relationship
mm-hmm.
you
mm-hmm.
have.
Oké. Zullen we die ook weer achter die blauwe zetten? Ja, okay, perfect. Yes? please pass on. Yeah. The mic.
Okay.
Could you stand up also for the video?
Can they hear me?
Yes.
Is it really necessary to stand up?
It's nice for the people at home watching. Okay, thank you. Yeah.
I am coming back to the understanding the process of dying first, because it becomes easier to uplift people's mind to a metaphysical level. And we should add here a second part, which is in this way we can encourage people to discover
We can encourage people to discover
their higher essence by themselves.
by themselves. Okay.
And then we have another one, but it will be another time.
Okay, great, good. Yeah, we have more cycles. Yes, always more. John. Oh, yeah. Diane,
I can
this
do
time.
it.
Yeah.
So ours was
Hold it up, your mic, please.
like
Yeah.
this?
Yes, perfect.
Like this. In the beautiful version of the Bhagavad Gita by William Kwan Judge, from the second chapter, Krishna, the higher self, speaks to Arjuna, who is deeply despondent. "Grieve not," he says, "for never was I not, nor thou, nor all these princes of the earth, nor shall we all ever hereafter cease to be." And in Sanskrit, Naham, that's not I, na tvam, nor thou, Naham natvam, nime janadahipaha, na chaiva, na bhavishyamaha, sarve vayam ataha param.
Okay, thank you.
You got that?
This is just symbolic language that we use, yeah, for that, yeah. Okay, we all know that famous part of the Gita, right? Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Our next point is to be aware of that you are part of a living whole, that thoughts and actions all work from one to all others, so that you are necessary and bear responsibility for others, and that you have the need to support them. So being part of a living whole, that thoughts and actions work from one to all others. From one to all others. Mm-hmm. And that you are therefore necessary and bear responsibility for others. So you have the need to support them. That you are therefore necessary and bear...
Oh, we'll do that later, yeah.
The responsibility for others. Yeah, and actually what that is needed to say is that you should support the others, so support them.
For others, support.
And support them, yeah, that's fine.
Ja, je moet, ja, doe me later. NEC. NEC, ja. 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 Is it right like that? that you are there for necessary. I thought you said to bear.
To bear responsibility.
To bear the responsibility.
Yeah, so you are
Okay.
necessary and bear responsibility
Okay.
for others.
Okay. Okay. Thanks. Well.
That you are necessary, so you are part of the whole. So you are necessary part.
Yeah. Yeah. That's.
Because you are one of that whole, and bear responsibility.
Oh. So it was right.
I don't understand this one, or is that later? I don't understand what you mean by saying I need to bear responsibility. Can you speak in the microphone?
Well, we'll do that. We'll do that later. Yeah. Oh, we'll do that later. So, the idea is that we collect the things. Yeah, but it was a question about what was entered, right? Okay, but the idea is we collect right now, and then we discuss the things. We have some points of discussion. We also collect them, and then after the dinner break, we will discuss and order things and try to synthesize it in one image. Okay, Ralph?
If we want to educate or talk to suffering people or their fellows, or for prevention, it is necessary to create an open and friendly atmosphere, to lessening ignorance and with this fear.
Okay. Thanks. Bianca?
Yeah. One of the ideas was that when you try to help a dying person, sometimes it's better to be there without maybe even speaking, and that would give you the chance to connect at the Buddhic level, because that might be the place to help at that point. How do we say that in one sentence? Be there in silence, connect at the Buddhic level.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Being there in silence yeah.
And connect at the Buddhic level.
And connect at the Buddhic level.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Okay, let's open it up for the audience. Maybe there are more other ideas, things that haven't been mentioned that you think are really important to add. Okay.
Which number?
Please, Mike. Okay.
I think we missed an important one from our group. John, we had the one of being yourself with a capital S. Yes, please.
Now the day. Yeah. So. Okay, that's another way to do it. Yeah.
By being your higher self, so the person in question, that could be the dying or the family, will be in his higher self.
Okay.
Similar to the remark about the Buddhic level.
Yeah.
Be there in silence.
Yeah. Or the other will be in his higher self. So the other will be in his higher self, or yeah.
Being in your higher self.
Okay.
The person in question will be in there.
Thank you. Do you say your name Angel or Angel? Sorry.
Angels.
Angel. Yeah, because she said that also. That was from our group that, I don't know which one it is there, but by addressing the person from our own individuality to theirs and not the personality, we touch them on the higher level. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
so a lot of the groups were thinking along the same line.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So that goes together. And it's the green one on the top,
Probably,
not the personality that fears you.
Right,
You
right.
communicate with it.
Yeah.
So we can put them together. Yeah. Okay. Good point. Other things that are missing that you think, okay, this is something that really has to if related to end-of-life issues, a very important point has to be in there. Johanna, can we? Yeah.
We talked a lot about not only the dying person, but the people left behind and their grief. And I saw the Bhagavad Gita quoted, and we had the idea to make a clearer view within yourself that you don't leave someone, that interconnectedness will always remain. And that makes it so much easier for people not to grieve, but to know that they are still connected.
Yeah.
Not in their personal layer, but in their impersonal layer.
Yeah. And addressing the family, you say, right? Addressing the people around the person that passes away. Misschien moeten we dat er nog bij zetten. Addressing the family or something.
So this addresses the grieving.
Yeah.
Yes?
Or the grieving. Okay, good point. Others? Oh, I'm sorry, Barend?
Yeah, there's one thing that I think is missing, and all those things are very beautiful, and I agree with all of them, but they could have been written in the 19th century as well. And one of the big problems of the 21st century are all those technical, medical implications, such as organ transplantation, and another problem is euthanasia, end of life, completed life problems, and all the modern things of the 21st century that the youngsters and the people who are living now are concerned with. And I don't see any of those problems here. And I think it's one of the tasks of the Theosophical movement in the 21st century to address that problems as well. Of course, you need all this, but we have to be prepared for all those modern questions. And maybe we should, when we are confronted with these modern questions, for instance, organ transplantation, we have to go back to the issues, the main issues, death and life. Our group started with it also, but we have to think about those modern problems as well. And so I would like to see them somewhere in the scheme.
Yeah, maybe could you maybe add a question like, what do you think this solution will get you to, or what do you think?
How to deal with organ transplantation, euthanasia, suicide, and the fourth one is dementia.
Dementia, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. But
We did explore those.
yeah,
We just didn't get to them yet, I guess.
Marijn, yeah?
Actually, we discussed that very much as well, and so the fourth idea was that it's essential that we promote the ancient wisdom tradition, especially cyclicity, karma, and the concept of that we're not just the body, but there's a higher self, the higher triad. Those three elements are really essential to deal with all of those issues.
Okay.
Oh.
Zet hem
And
even links.
in
Ja, dat is goed.
in addition, we discussed also that it is helpful it is helpful that people know the whole cycle of dying, the whole process where you're going through.
Yeah, we have that somewhere in there, the light blue one, the understanding the process of dying first.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. No, but that was ours, but that was for ourselves.
Okay.
When you understand it yourself, you can help another person, but you also have to teach about it. What we're doing in lectures, and you teach another one.
Yeah.
So
And
they start to think about it.
And that was the last point that
that
in
was
your
our last
4
point.
steps
Yes,
that Marijn just
definitely.
added. So
Yeah.
could you repeat, Marijn? So you said something about the ancient wisdom traditions, teachings, like
yeah, specifically
karma.
cyclicity, karma, and that we're and the idea of the higher triad or the higher self. We are more than the physical body. So what is man?
Yeah.
Cyclicity, karma, and the idea of the higher triad, higher self, higher triad / self.
And we put that way below as the fourth step of your...
Yeah, so this is promoting education whenever we get the opportunity in common language.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Jonathan, yeah?
I was just going to ask Lalibel to read what our contribution on that, so that was it.
Oh, okay. Lalibel? Stand up,
Oh.
then Patrick knows that you can... Yeah.
All right. We are very much in tune, as we can see. On that, we had made it a general point that intervention in life and death, as compared with nature, has consequences. So when you intervene in processes that actually do not occur in nature, because transplantation is not a very natural thing, then you should know that it has consequences. So we didn't really dive into all of the consequences or what they are exactly, but that it has consequences should be very clear, because it's not natural.
Okay, yeah. Realizing that intervention in life and death has consequences.
Yeah, but, with the natural process. Yeah, that is...
Yeah. Okay. Okay. I also would suggest to take like 10 minutes to just collect some comments and questions, and we can discuss them later. So, Marijn, I start with you. You already had a comment about one of or a question, and that it was related to the green one about
Lalibel said something out. We need to bear responsibility for others, and I was hoping that you could clarify what you mean by saying that.
Okay. Well, for clarification, that's maybe good. Yeah.
Okay. So that one action touches all other things. So that you bear responsibility in that sense to think over your actions and whether you are spreading that the spin-off of your actions are good, or that it is good spin-off to others. So you have a responsibility to do the right thing for others.
So not in the sense...
Yeah.
Yeah. So it has consequences.
Yes, it has consequences.
So not in the sense of doing the duty of someone else, but yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Jean?
Exactly.
Thank you. It's just a thought that still goes along with the know who, what, where, and why. Knowing the state and stage of readiness, we think is important, because if they're not ready, whether it's family, whether it's the dying, or even whether it's us not ready to execute, share, whatever, it's not going to happen. So if we are aware of the state of readiness for acceptance of the individual dying or of the family to hear what you're going to tell them about the higher self or whatever, it is helpful to know. If they're not ready, they're not going to hear it. And so really understanding the stage and state of readiness.
Okay, so that's actually a point to add, right? This
Well,
is
it's
not
just
directly a
flushing
question or
out.
comment,
It's-
but...
It goes with what we said, but that
Okay.
is, again, as you guys pointed out in the group, so general and deep and wide that it means nothing as we have it, know who, what, where, and why times 3. But that's one of the issues of knowing.
Yeah.
Knowing the state and stage of readiness in order to execute appropriately those interventions.
We indeed spoke about the discernment to judge where somebody is, to know what to do.
Yes.
Because somebody who's about to die tomorrow needs some different help than somebody who has 3 months. Yeah.
So it was just a matter of making that point clear.
Yeah, okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay, Judy?
Yes, I think it's important in the Gita 2, which was spoken so eloquently in Sanskrit, that the gist of it be elaborated a bit more. It's, thou grievest for that which may not be lamented, for never was I or thou, nor will I or thou, nor all the princes of the earth seek to be. In other words, Krishna is saying to the grieving, weeping Arjuna, don't worry about all these beings who are going to die. It's only their lower nature and your lower nature that will die, but not who you really are. So it's thou grievest for that which may not be lamented, for neither I nor thou, nor will all the princes of the earth cease to be. So I think that higher lower needs to be emphasized there as to what is really going to be killed in this battle in the Mahabharata in the middle of the Gita.
Yeah.
And thank you.
Yeah. So maybe we can add at the Gita the discernment between those two. We will look it up and make sure it will be in there the way it is. But yeah, the higher and lower nature, maybe. Yeah. Okay, Kim.
So I have a question.
Great.
Let's say a soul incarnates into a body that has a genetic disorder, and now the scientists, through gene therapy, have developed, maybe with stem cells or who knows what they're doing, with some gene therapy, a cure for that genetic disease. And let's say that child has parents who decide to do that, and let's say it's successful and they're healed. Now their cells, I guess in most of their body, most of the somatic body cells have been, their genetics have been healed. I'm just curious theosophically what that means to the incarnating soul. Now they have a different vehicle, and that perhaps is their karma to have incarnated into a world that would allow that shift in their vehicle.
Okay, great question. So you say, what does it mean for a soul to be incarnated in a body that is genetically modified, or for a soul to be incarnated in a body? Okay. Yeah, that is genetically
Erwin?
modified. Or yeah, just a second. Okay. Dave?
Oh, I had one thought on that.
Well, the idea is to collect
Oh,
questions.
just collect, okay.
And we'll discuss it after dinner.
Okay.
So if there are any, I'd really like, is there any important questions, things you say, okay, but this, I still have this question unanswered, or how do we cope with this situation, or what does it mean, you know? So, yeah, do we cover everything? The important, like Barend says, do we cover all these modern techniques, organ transplantation?
Question for later, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
okay, okay.
Okay, Marijn?
Yeah, I got one. It's we discussed Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, and how with her work she really changed the whole perception of the whole idea of that you should leave the dying alone, right? And I'm just wondering out loud here if when we talk about entering the arena, if there's anything we can do on a bigger scale than on talking one-on-one. To change the perception of perhaps that death is not a moment, but it's a process.
Okay. What can we do? Yeah. What can we do to spread the idea that death is not a moment, but a process?
Yes, but on a bigger scale.
On a bigger scale than just one-on-one.
Enter the arena. Yes.
Communication. Yeah. What is? Just a second. What is yeah, the question. Dus how can we spread the idea that death is not a moment, but a process? Spread. Yeah. Bianca? Oh, Henk?
We also had the question, which we did not discuss so much because lack of time, is what is the influence of painkillers to the panoramic vision?
Ah.
Yeah.
Okay. What is the influence of painkillers to the panoramic vision?
Yeah.
Okay. Jean?
How can we practice dying now?
How can we practice dying now?
Prepare or
Okay. Okay. Going back to your first hobby? Yeah.
Erwin, we also talk in group 6 about preventive, what we can do.
Mhm.
And we have to make it in relation to the Theosophical movement.
Mhm.
If you look to the issues we see, that is more the individual Theosophical responsibility.
Mhm.
But you can also say, do the Theosophical movement have also a responsibility? And I heard Marijn says, we have the responsibility to keep the wisdom, the old wisdom, a living thing.
Mhm.
And I don't know if it was in this morning of tomorrow or yesterday, that Herman means that if we want to keep it a living part, we have to continue it over 3,000 years.
Mhm.
And what I will say, we have all an issue on the end of life. I live 90, probably 80, 19 years. But I think Theosophical movement have also a responsibility to let it living the ideas in this world.
Yeah.
And that is something what I not express.
Yes. How we cherish
I don't
the
know
flame.
if it is an issue,
Yeah.
but I
How
bring it in.
as Theosophists make sure that these ideas are continued and passed on to a next generation.
Yes.
And okay.
But you have also asked
So
yourself.
not only what do we tell the world and to give more insight, but also really the deeper knowledge itself.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's otherwise the masses don't have to send more messages
Mhm.
after a while.
Yeah.
Yes. I see also a responsibility for the Theosophical movement of the organizations.
Mhm.
Yeah.
What are our end of life issues?
Well, yes. Not only for these questions, but
Yeah.
we have many questions about suffering.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Good. Any other? Okay. Then. Oh yeah, Joop.
Yeah, I was wondering whether the question of a fulfilled life can be answered by the bullet points we have collected over there.
Yeah.
This is one of the themes in many societies.
Yeah.
And of course we know that there are many aspects to be dealt with, but that's a very strange, what is a life worth living? That's
exactly.
the theme of our
So we
gathering.
have a good check for us at the
Yeah.
end. Okay, does this cover that most important question?
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. A check. Yeah. How do we put it?
The fulfillment of life.
Do we have a good answer to this idea of
Fulfillment of life.
Fulfillment of life. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Dave. No, okay. Oh, yeah. Dave already has. Yes, yeah. Okay. You can sit at the dinner table with him if you don't want to wait. Okay. Any other questions? Yeah, Jean.
And again, it's something that was just triggered by that last fulfillment of life. Because one of the things I believe that keeps us hanging around after we've died is the question of meaning, fulfillment, completion. Because if we haven't completed what we feel we were born for, we can't leave, even though we're dead. And so one of the questions, even on the other side, for the family, for the one dying, is, have you fulfilled your purpose? Do you understand the meaning? Have you done what you were born for? Because really trying to answer those questions lets us know whether they can die peacefully or whether there is a unfulfilled hunger. And that can be important for the transition.
Yeah, yeah, okay. So, yeah. Yeah, but Jean also adds for the other side of the mind map to ask for what does it mean for you to have a fulfilled, what is the meaning of fulfilling to you, of completion, of completing your, okay. We will add that. And yeah, any more questions before? Yeah? This time you...
In relation to genes, and we discussed this a little bit, it seems that many people, which is a natural question at the time of death, they feel there are things they still need to put in order. They're ready to go, but they feel like there's, I need to tell somebody this or do that and the other. So how can we help people to address this feeling at that moment? How can we help them to do that?
Okay.
To put their...
How can we help people to, or with the question of making things in order, or...
Right.
Yeah.
Because many people, it seems to be a common feeling of the dying. Yeah.
In order. With the question of making things, or the issue of, or the question. Actually, that was more or less what Flip said, right? Okay.
Well, how can we help them to put their affairs in order?
How can I make sure that the coming 3,000 years between my now and my next incarnation, this theosophical movement will still be a living power in the world?
Maybe.
Yeah, right.
It wasn't quite that big, but
for some it is. Yeah. Or
affairs.
Yeah, affairs. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Then we'll be back in 2 hours. 7:30, and then we'll continue with, we have time to discuss, we have time to synthesize a bit, and we also have a presentation from Yulia from the Ukraine about the Blavatsky movement in Ukraine. So that's also, I think, very worthwhile to listen to. Okay, see you in 2 hours.